From the state capitol, the Capitol Report with Senator Dave Cox. And now, the Capitol Report.
Hello, I'm Senator Dave Cox. Welcome to the Capitol Report. Today we're joined by talk show hosts from around the state at the 4th Annual Capitol ClearSpeak. This year's event provides news and talk radio personalities a unique opportunity to broadcast live from the steps of the state capitol. These interviews provide listeners with direct access to lawmakers and administration officials on the inner workings of state government. And here are the clips of my interviews with Phil Cowan of KSTE, Ari Koga, KFIA, and Kitty O'Neill and Ari Graswich of KFBK.
Right here in California.
We are on the west steps of the Capitol, at Capitol ClearSpeak, a special event today, broadcasting from the big white tent, and we've got Senator Dave Cox, one of my favorite guys. You know, the thing about Dave Cox that a lot of folks don't know is that he has the reputation, even among the media, being an old print guy, of actually responding to constituents.
Well, we try to respond to all of the email that we get, as well as respond to the letters, and then telephone calls. We get lots of telephone calls. I'm still a guy who gives out my home telephone number, and every now and then I get a call, and I ask them for the courtesy of not calling me at midnight just to see that I'm there. But if they've got a problem and they need to talk to me, I'm available.
And he follows through on this, folks. I mean, this is true. I've seen this in action where, and not necessarily even folks from your district, if someone has an issue with bureaucracy or some legitimate beef, you don't mind getting your hands dirty.
Well, I think you wrote about a person that was having some difficulty with a birth certificate, and so we were able to help with that, and we were pleased to do that. But you know that's part of a person's job, and that is they're there to respond to constituents. And so, you know, if a person's got a problem, you need to help them get through the bureaucracy.
That seems like a real old-fashioned but treasured way of conducting your legislative duties.
Well, it ought not to be. It ought not to be. I'm afraid that's probably the case. But you know, from the standpoint of you just need to help some people get through the process.
Well, what are your sights on at the moment? What are your big concerns right now?
I know that everyone who has been here today has probably talked about our budget. We have a situation where we literally have a budget of about 100, and depending upon whether you include the federal funds, it's over $100 billion in the general fund, and it's a situation. A significant amount of that money is mandated it goes certain places, but you know, we're now talking about that. We have a structural deficit, which simply means that we spend more money than we take in, and we
kind of like my house.
Well, you can't do that very long, Ari. From that standpoint, you couldn't do it as a business, and you can't do it as a government. Now, there's some good things that are happening, but at the same time, the number one part of the economy today happens to be construction. So when you've got a housing slowdown, then all of a sudden you've got your economy that goes down, and we could honestly work our way out of this if, in fact, we could keep the economy strong. And I certainly give Governor Schwarzenegger a great deal of credit for his effort to shine a spotlight. So there's a budget, and we're going to ultimately be asked to vote on the budget, and all of that budget dance is going on. And I'm sure somebody told you that relative to the budget, that everybody who walks in has, generally speaking, a mantra that says something like, you know, it's okay to cut everybody else, but don't cut me, and that kind of situation. And then in addition to that, we're talking about prisons. We've got 172,000 adult incarcerated in the state of California. A significant portion of that prison is being taken and run by a conservative representing a federal magistrate, which is, you know, that's not good from that standpoint to have somebody else running it. They literally have the ability to back up their truck to the general fund and take whatever money they think is necessary, and we've seen that. We've seen the person who's running that to increase salaries of professionals rather substantially, making it difficult in some of these small communities. So we've got to take care of the 172,000. Part of our problem is we've got a very high recidivism rate, about 70%, and we need to have rehabilitation programs that knock that down. you can't have a situation where you let somebody out of prison. They've served their time. Let them out of prison. You give them that bus ticket at home. They got a pair of jeans and $200 in their pocket, and it doesn't take them long if they don't have any skills to go back to the old neighborhood and then come out right back into the same situation.
Well, let me ask you. I put this question to the governor as well, but wouldn't it help us if we did something to get those 172 before they get into trouble when they're 7, 8, 10, 12, 13 years old?
No question about it. It would cost us less if we were catching these people upstream as opposed to downstream. And by the way, that's one of the things that the governor did with his proposition. We talked about the fact that his after-school program was designed, in fact, to catch these kids upstream as opposed to downstream, and so that was in fact put in place. But we're talking a situation that we just need to have we need to have a rehabilitation program to reduce the recidivism rate. And then in addition to that, there's still lots of discussion about health care in the state of California. There are 6 plans currently on the board, and in fact there's 1 by the governor, 2 by other Republicans, 3 by other Democrats, and so we're going to debate all those issues.
Well, Senator Dave Cox, we do appreciate your stopping by. We know you're on a bit of a schedule today. So
thank you very much for your time, and thank you both, by the way, for the work that you're doing. And I was very serious when I said, R.E., that you've just slipped into this and just you're just doing great.
I got lucky, Senator, and I got the right partner here. That's the key.
About that. I know right away she's carrying you, but other than that, it's.
No doubt about that.
We're happy to have him.
Thank you, Senator. You can leave now, by the way.
Senator Dave Cox.
Y el palo en tu cara.
Kind of a break from our format tonight to entertain some of my old friends, and more than happy to have at my broadcast table one of the finest in California here at the Capitol State, Senator Dave Cox, District 1. A lot of folks don't know where that's at, but home base is Fairhouse, right?
Let me tell them very quickly. The 1st Senate District, we really have the northeastern 1/3 of the state of California. With our back in Carmichael, which is a suburb of Sacramento, we go all the way up to Alturas, which is the northeast corner of the state, and then we go all the way down to Mammoth Lake. It takes us 12 counties to get those 850,000 constituents that every member of the Senate represents, and I will tell you that they don't call it the 1st Senate District for nothing. It's just gorgeous country.
Well, represented in fine fashion with yourself, sir. How many years have you been working here at the Capitol?
Well, this is my we're now into the 8th year in the legislature. I spent 6 years in the 6 years in the Assembly and 2 years in the Senate. I'm actually in my 3rd year in the Senate, so it's been a great experience.
Why do you do it? Why do you still do it?
Well, because I enjoy engaging regarding the issues. We've got some interesting issues that the legislature today had
3 minutes
bill that passed out relative to prisons from a standpoint that we have 172,000 adult incarcerated in the state of California. We have more than about half of our prisons that are in a current federal receivership, where there's a conservator there that's making the decisions, literally has the ability to back up the truck right to the Treasury of the state of California and take whatever money they believe is necessary to get the job done. In addition to that, we're debating issues relative to health care. There are 6 plans that have been discussed. Maybe some of your other guests have talked about this, but my side of the aisle has really taken the approach that it's not just medical insurance that makes a difference. It really is access to health care, because if you in fact have, Eric, a health insurance but you can't find a doctor, you've got a different kind of problem. So what we need to be talking about are how do you provide health care, accessibility to health care for those 6 million people that do not in fact have health care for whatever reason. We know of that 6 million, of course, that there are some that are the 18 to 19-year-old that just believe they're immortal and they don't need any insurance or health care, and then there are those that are here illegally, and then you have some that are in transition. So it is a situation that we need to have some reform, and I believe that we can do that. I'm not one, by the way, who favors either plan that I've heard from either the governor or the Democrat side of the aisle or Ms. Migden, because they all have mandates in them, and I frankly think we function better when we don't have mandates. But that's just my personal philosophy.